his final numbers might not look great, but I thought, he made some really good throws, stood in, get some pressure, and did what he has normally done. And it didn't seem like he was fazed by that defense at all.
No, he wasn't. He was getting rid of the ball. I was very pleased with that. And, some of the things we strived on all week. Hey, you got this much time to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it. And he did. He did a nice job.
You don't give him a clock. I know some teams they'll have, you got 2.5, 3.5 seconds,
I'll bring the stopwatch out to him with practice, and I'll make sure those things are out, and I'll let him know. So he understands I'm slow, I'm early, I'm slow, I'm early. Get the feel of the routes.
Chris Smith had 2 long catches, and really this season seems to be turning into more of a downfield threat. Is that something that's just he's gotten better at doing, or is it just
it's happened. There were some opportunities for him there, and I was very pleased with his performance. Went up and made some catches, and he was competing, and he wanted to show him what he could do, and I thought he did a nice job.
I know there's a lot of talk in the preseason about being more vertical offensively. Maybe it hasn't panned out, but Joe Morrow, kind of curious about how his development has come along.
Well, Joe's been beat up a little bit. He's getting back from some injuries and stuff, but he's coming along. He's learning. He's having a great, he has a good room to learn from, those older guys. And I think that's critical as a young receiver. And again, anytime you've got competition in a position, it makes it harder.
You had some success with some long drives against Alabama. Obviously the top-ranked defense in the country. What was working well on those drives that maybe wasn't on some of those other ones?
Well, I think, execution was a big part of it. We mixed it up just like we did in the other drives and everything else, but the execution part was there, and I think that was really critical. Execution on third down, execution on the first and second down to not be any third and longs. Early in the game, we had 3rd and 23 with the penalties and stuff like that. Those are hard to get first downs, and I think we stayed out of those situations, and that was good for our team.
Well, it talks about Texas A&M's offense, obviously, but what about their defense? I don't know how much you've dissected.
We have 94 is a good player. He really is. He's leading, I think, the SEC in sacks. He's very active. Defensively, they're very active. When you talk about their defense, and then people always want to bring up their offense. Well, their offense is a fast pace, go really fast, and you miss a turn, and all of a sudden your defense is out on the field a pretty long time. And they play mainly a spread type of defense. They take risky things on defense to get the ball back for their offense.
I was about to say, when you're playing a kind of a high risk defense again, lots of blitzes and stuff like that, how do you try to counteract that? What do you have to do well to win those
we
games?
have to execute. I think that's where the concentration part of our kids, and we've been good against the blitz, so it's been beneficial for us. But we've got to concentrate on our assignments. People are moving around, so we just definitely have to concentrate what our assignments are and what are our keys, what are our identification keys for blitz and stuff like that.
How do you think your tackles played? I know they got beat up a little bit and had to leave a couple of times, but
we had a couple of them in there.
Damien got some good playing time.
Damien got some playing time. It was a great, great deal for us. Having to, listen to the snap count and do those different things in a venue like that, it's really tough for an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Because, we're mainly going on silent count. So, they were working really close with Dylan Day in the center. So those things were new for those young kids. Our older kids had been through it, but it was something that'll pay off for us in the long run. We've got LSU away too. Those venues are going to be pretty loud.
Yeah.
Kevin Sumlin's known more as an offensive style coach, but how many similarities are there from his defenses at Houston as that he took to Texas A&M?
Well, again, he's head coach at Texas A&M. I'm sure he's involved in both rooms. So, we've had some games against University of Houston here. And, they both ways. They came down here and beat us. We went up there and beat them. So, they had a really, really good quarterback when they came down here. And, it'll be interesting to see what happens.